This is the face of the Hyundai H1. 8 to 9 seater bus that was facelifted at the beginning of this year. A few minor changes to the headlights and to the front end. Most of the changes actually happened on the interior. You can see it's a long vehicle, has to be to have 3 full rows of seats, and nicely has sliding doors on both sides, so your entry and egress is nice and easy. Mag wheels, of course, because this is the upper model, being the 2.5 litre diesel, the turbo diesel. Puts out 125 kilowatts and 420 newton meters of torque. A feature of a long vehicle like this and a big vehicle like this is, of course, you have that very high opening long tailgate, but it does open to a 680 litres boot with all the seats in place. And of course, then you can expand and expand as much as you want, going through to the dropping seats and removing the middle seats, etc. Sliding doors both sides, which is also a useful feature for a people carrier of this type. In the Hyundai H1 bus and behind the wheel, well, you feel a bit like a bus driver at times, but a very comfortable and relaxed bus driver. So there are no complaints. You obviously have all your mod cons. You have power steering. You have, of course, ABS brakes and airbags. Very simple dashboard, but very basic and very clear. So it does help you over there. And you can see your instrumentation is nice and clear. You do have a multifunction steering wheel, so you've got controls for sound system, for phone, and cruise control, which is standard on the upgraded model, are all standard for you over there. You come to the center screen, and I have to say one of my criticisms of the H1 is that's your infotainment screen. Yes, you have Bluetooth, you have USB functionality, etc., but I think the screen is a generation behind. And Hyundai, you need to just get a little bit more up to date on that point over there. Over here, which is very nice, you do have your climate control system, and you set your temperature for the front passengers over here. And then very interesting and very neatly, you have separate control for the rear of the vehicle, and of course you just set up and down over there and fan control over there. Very nice, very neat. It works very effectively. You come down. Also, something slightly different, but what it does do is free up space for that third passenger in front, is that your gear lever is up here on your center console. Very easy, very convenient, falls to hand very nicely, and it frees up the floor space below for a center passenger in front if you'd like to have them. Talking of the gear lever, 5-speed automatic gear shift, maybe slightly old tech, but it certainly works very effectively and more than adequate for a vehicle of this type. Looking over here, you do have your third seat in the center, which is slightly compromised by the handbrake lever between the driver and the middle passenger. You also have the function over here, if you'd like, of dropping this down. You have cup holders and a very nice storage space over here. However, one little thing we did find with the vehicle was it made it very awkward for the front passenger to access their seat belt over there when that is down. But this vehicle is actually all about the passengers and how many passengers it can carry. So let's see what it feels like to go to the middle row of seats of the H1. Coming into the middle row, of course, this is where this vehicle was built, and why it was built is it has space for passengers. You can fit 3 very comfortably across the middle or back row of seats, and lots of legroom for the passengers over here as well. So it's very, very comfortable. Leather trim on this model as well, and I mentioned earlier the air conditioning system over here, which can be controlled by the passengers as well. So very comfortable, very easy. You can see I've set the seat over here to show how you access the rearmost row of seats. Just flips forward and you slide it forward and gives lots of access. I'll show that in a moment. So comfortable. I could just picture myself maybe traveling to the Kruger Park in a vehicle like this, and certainly would be a great trip for, say, 6, 2 per row. It would be magnificent. The other use for a vehicle like this, of course, is as an airport shuttle or transport of that sort. I feel the diesel engine and automatic gearbox are the ideal combination for this type of usage and for drivers to use in these circumstances. There is a petrol manual model, approximately 100,000 Rand cheaper, which does without leather trim and climate control and 1 or 2 other extra items. But beyond that, they are very, very similar. And interestingly, the power output of the petrol engine is virtually the same as the diesel. We're going to take a look right at the back. Moving right to the back of the vehicle, you can see again space for you. Legroom, not quite as much as the middle row, but certainly more than enough and a good place to be. 2, maybe 3 people, but it's got space. It's the people carrier, there's no doubt. So, performance-wise, it certainly meets the bill. It's got the space, it meets that bill. What's the competition like? There are 2 main competitors for this vehicle, and that would be the Mercedes Vito and the VW Combi or Transporters. You can look at the prices on them. Interesting to compare because there are models that are cheaper, but if you try and compare even engine spec for engine spec, you will find that both of those vehicles I've just mentioned do come in at slightly higher prices. Talking of price, well, the diesel version, the 2.5 diesel of the Hyundai H1, 614,900 Rand. That also gives you, of course, Hyundai's 7-year, 200,000 kilometer guarantee that comes with their vehicles these days, as well as a 5-year, 90,000 kilometer service plan. So it gives you all of those. If you have a large family, or if in your business you need to transport people, larger groups on a regular basis, you certainly need to take a look at the Hyundai H1 before you make a final decision. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. See you next time.